Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 257 based on novel. So let's start. Fifth brother. Fifth brother. Captain. The distant universe soldiers who witnessed the scene all shouted in pain and agony. Luo Lanshan had been a good comrade over these countless years. Bastard. Despicable punks, go and die. The pain-filled soldiers all attacked even more madly at the Chiosha-scaled warriors. They only thought that he was killed by a ripple of attack from the undying battle. These ripples normally don't kill Sector Lord. However, even a Sector Lord pinnacle would die without doubt when hit by one of the blade slashes, much less the Sector Lord level 3 Luo Lanshan. Kill. The human soldiers rushed at the enemies did the same back at them. It was war. Luo Lanshan's death was indeed within Luo Feng's calculations. The Chiosha Undying fighting Luo Feng was a spirit reader too. He controlled 9 blades. While Luo Feng was blocking his attacks and the two fought, the Chiosha's blade clashed with the beast god's claws. The blade's attack was knocked sideways and its slash naturally curved. The beast god projection simply altered its angle and aimed it at a particular direction Luo Feng had intended on. The beast god projection's claw blocked and altered the attack's angle. Even the harsh and extremely strict army system wouldn't be able to determine Luo Feng as the culprit. He was after all simply blocking an attack. Just like that, Luo Lanshan was dead. He thought that the army would be extremely safe for him. He didn't know that there would be loopholes in the system. Hence he died unknown in the battlefield, amongst the countless members that had fallen. Back then I was forced by Luo Lanshan to such extremes, almost like it was the end. I felt like he was such a huge presence back then, unable to shake. Now however, after 4,000 years of training, his strength had risen so much, yet he was still nothing but an ant to me. There was no difficulty in killing him at all, just like stepping on an ant. Luo Feng thought. Strength, this is strength. The outer region wars is life or death training. This training is most importantly to raise one's strength and not to head out to kill aimlessly over and over. One has to reflect on each battle over and over to acquire more experience. Luo Feng got a strong sense of anticipation after accomplishing his goal of killing Luo Lanshan. Becoming an absolute warrior. A true warrior with the ability to protect himself and shaken by any other powerful warriors. Go? Luo Feng stood on the Luo Fu Chi board and looked at the distant Chiosha Undying. Howl, a formless howl from an ancient time. A powerful beast god projection that rushed forward, completely suppressing the surrounding space, pushing down on the poor enemy. It could only use its 9 blades to block and defend. Tear! Its powerful claws immediately hit the 9 blades that were used to defend, after which the terrifying energy tore right through its body. Rumble! Its body was torn apart and knocked away. The shredded body quickly began to regain its form in space as the enraged Chiosha Undying looked at the distant Luo Feng. He let out an ear-piercing scream in human language. Human Sector Lord, I don't believe I can't kill you. The 9 blades quickly became 9 beams of light and pierced at Luo Feng. The beast god's projection used its scaled tail to sweep away 7 beams of light, with 2 remaining. You are after all just a Sector Lord, your body cannot withstand my attack. The Chiosha Undying gritted his teeth. Rumble. Luo Feng wielded the beast god armament shield, casually blocking. With the beast god armament, it gave him the strength of a low-level official Undying, plus its material itself easily knocked away the 2 blades. So hard to kill, a pinnacle general Undying sure is hard to kill. I've already shredded his body 7 times, however he manages to regain his form over and over. However, from the looks of it, he's lost quite a bit of strength. Luo Feng frowned. Simply using the beast god armament without the Undying star-eating plant, sure is hard. Rumble. A howl resounded from another direction. The other scaled Undying had fallen. Yang. The distant Xu Fan and boy looked over at Luo Feng. Xu Fan couldn't help but tell him mentally, these scaled beings are energy life forms. They are more adept than flesh and blood life forms in regaining their form. Even those without an undying body, as long as they aren't too weak, they'd still take tens of times to be destroyed before they truly die. Yang, with the undying plant helping, first destroy him and then let the plant swallow his shredded body. Completely swallowing his shredded body will naturally kill him. This is the quickest method. I understand. Luo Feng replied, I want to use him to train myself, please wait a while. The distant Xu Fan and Boy exchanged glances, not daring to say anything, immediately heading to the army to swiftly deal with the little enemies. Quickly flee! Flee! How? The Chiosha soldiers all shouted in different languages, dispersing in all directions. The human soldiers naturally took the chance to kill as many as they could. The remaining Chiosha undying immediately revealed a look of shock. The two human undyings are coming. The moment they join hands with this sector lord, I'd be dead. I have to flee now. He couldn't care less anymore, immediately turning to flee. Where are you going? Luo Feng's gaze was cold. Rumble. His world projection swiftly increased its binding strength. With it there, the Chiosha undying's flying speed was naturally affected. Luo Feng's, however, was boosted and he swiftly caught up. Human, don't force me. The undying turned and shouted angrily, its screech piercing. Self-destruct? Luo Feng smiled coldly. The huge single-horned lizard in space rushed down and pressed down, its right and left claws grabbing the Chiosha undying. It was just like a piece of tofu, madly torn apart by the huge beast god projection over and over. However, it simply regained its form every time. But, each time the body was reformed, it did take up a lot of its undying energy. It didn't have an undying body after all, it would lose a large amount of its undying energy every time it was torn apart. And it couldn't escape. Attacked over and over. The undying howled and wanted to rush at Luo Feng, wanting to self-destruct to take him along with his. However, it was once again torn apart by the beast god projection. It felt nothing but pain and hatred. He wanted to self-destruct and yet it couldn't even get close. It was forced into a corner with no other way. Its spirit attacks before had no effect whatsoever and it failed in attacking him with its long-distance spirit weapons. Now its self-destruct abilities were hindered by the distance too. Being torn apart over and over drove him to the brink of madness. Tearing me again, you shall be torn too. Rumble. The undying was being torn apart again when it self-destructed. Rumble. The explosion instantly caused thousands of kilometers of space around to crumble. The pinnacle General Undying's explosion was thousands of times its normal attack. This was an Undying's final move. Luo Feng's beast god projection instantly crumbled under the attack with large amounts of metal flakes dispersing in all directions, after which they all curved and returned to Luo Feng and rejoined the beast god shield. Killing a pinnacle General Undying sure is troublesome. Luo Feng shook his head. The distant Xu Fan and Boy flew over. Ha ha, congratulations Yan. Xu Fan smiled. To be able to kill a pinnacle General Undying alone, this is not easy at all. Even us, we have to combine our strengths to do so. You must combine strengths. Luo Feng looked at them. Xu Fan nodded. 1v1 with the strengths closely matched, it's extremely hard to kill a pinnacle general. Even if he's torn apart, he can reform his body. Even though it would take up undying energy. However, normal generals can maintain their energy to reform at least 10 times. This isn't a problem, especially when he ultimately feels like he cannot hold out any longer with no chance to escape and no allies coming in time. He can choose to self-destruct at the last moment, 1v1. If he self-destructs at close distance, the victor would lose his life too. Hence normally we work together. With the two of us, the moment we gain the advantage and destroy his body, we can immediately use undying energy to bind the shattered fragments, not letting him swiftly reform, and separating the pieces. As these fragments have powerful undying energy within, they will struggle very hard. It takes two of us with our full strengths to control them and destroy each part individually. These fragments would then be separated into two portions. One man will deal with the fragments and continuously destroy them, making those parts get weaker and weaker, wasting the enemy's undying energy. And under such circumstances, he wouldn't be able to self-destruct too. Finally, when all undying energy has been spent, he would die. If it was one person alone, one would first separate the fragments and suppress the fragments himself. Unless he was very strong, it would be very hard to do. Unless one attacks from a distance like Yan, you don't have to fear the self-destruct. Xu Fan smiled. Luo Feng nodded. When he killed the Undyings before, he used the star-eating plant to help him. Naturally it was much easier. Xu Fan, boy, I think it's time I left. Luo Feng said. Leave? The two generals were shocked. Right now, the two of them really wished for Luo Feng to stay in their team. However, they were very clear, the chances of him staying for long was very, very low. Haha, you two are my first friends here in Yangji continent. We will definitely meet again. Luo Feng smiled. I have my own plan, hence. We all have our own goals, we won't force you. Young, live till retirement. Boy said. Live till retirement. Shu Fan said too. Same, live till retirement. Luo Feng smiled. Rumble. After which he became a beam of light and swiftly vanished into the distance. Luo Feng sat in his ship and flew above Fog Island. He had just forced the Chiosha Undying to self-destruct. It however made Luo Feng realize that he didn't have the power to cleanly kill just one pinnacle general Undying. He was much weaker than he thought. Train, I have to strengthen myself. I'll first train on Fog Island, and when I'm the strongest here, I'll head to the main continent. Luo Feng decided. Barbata, that mountain range. Luo Feng kept his ship and sneaked alone into the mountain range. It had a huge cave within that seemed like it hadn't been inhabited for a long time. Some large team had probably used it a long time ago. From today on, this will be my base. Luo Feng raised his hand. Star-eating plant, fill up every hole and cave in this mountain except for mine. The gold star-eating plant immediately landed within the cave and followed his orders, swelling up to a huge size. One had to know that this plant had the ability to grow to the size of a sundae. Hence, filling up this entire cave was simply too easy. Countless leaves spread open and the entire cave became a sea of leaves. Heavily layered protection. The scanning device had a diameter of 1 billion kilometers. It also had a super scanning area of 10,000 kilometers. Luo Feng's device was after all one of the top-end devices. It could maintain a huge area and specialized area simultaneously. Naturally, its small area was more advanced. Other than that, there was also the star-eating plant's protection. At least while I train, I don't want to be ambushed. The scanning device is after all just a device, there will be errors. But with the star-eating plant, it'll be much safer. Luo Feng immediately set up base. This would be where he would stay for long. His training program thus began. According to the survival experiences he found from the virtual universe network, along with his own experiences, Luo Feng had his own rules in regards his training and survival in the outer region wars. After every hunt and battle, he would return to reflect for 10 days to half a month if short, the longest stretching for 3 to 5 months. One had to know that the Undyings mostly moved in 2s or even 3s. Yet, Luo Feng hunted alone. Simply using the beast god armament was very taxing. Hence, he was occasionally surrounded and had to unleash his blade work to battle. Luo Feng's strength using the beast god armament was only around low official level. But, the main thing was the basics of a sector lord pinnacle world energy was too weak. And his official level strength wasn't at an undying body level yet. Accurately speaking, it was only slightly stronger than a pinnacle general undying. Using close combat however, he had the strength of a high-level official. As he could use the soldier armor which amplified his strength to 1,000 times sector lord, his foundation was much more powerful. That plus his close to emperor level beast god presence, his blade work, was naturally at a high-level official amount of power. The moment he used his blade work, the other race warriors would immediately begin to flee. Even if Luo Feng used his undying star-eating plant, he would normally only be able to catch and kill one. Time passed, any surviving warrior in the outer region wars had usually been around for thousands to tens of thousands of years. In the blink of an eye, 100 years had passed since Luo Feng came to Fog Island. 100 years. Luo Feng had gone hunting hundreds of times. When he first began, he simply relied on the star-eating plant when he couldn't succeed alone to kill his enemies. He had killed quite a few undyings then. However, gradually, his reputation spread and the strong warriors on Fog Island shared that information about him. They all knew of a human sector lord with an undying star-eating plant. Despicable human, actually relying on an undying star-eating plant. He actually has an undying plant. Bastard. Even my senior, an official level undying doesn't have an undying plant. The other 11 officials have never owned a plant before. That plant is simply too hard to deal with. With countless leaves, the moment they wrap about and swallow, there's no place to flee. It's worse than dealing with an official level undying. In the past, the undyings of Fog Island would move about in 2s or 3s. However, with the news of the star-eating sector lord spreading, with him even being recognized by the 12 officials of Fog Island, they all regarded him as the 13th most powerful being. Hence, the many undyings of Fog Island began to form alliances. They were moving in 2 teams, with 4 to 5 undyings in one team, or even 6 or 7 at a go. That way, even if they met Luo Feng, they had the strength to suppress him. The moment he unleashed the star-eating plant or blade work, they could all choose to sacrifice 5% of their undying bodies to self-destruct the plant and shake his world projection binding before fleeing. Hence, Luo Feng's point accumulation gradually decreased. He had sighed back then, the undyings, none of them are stupid. Without an undying plant before, they all moved about in 2s or 3s. But, now with my appearance here, they've immediately become 4 or 5, even 6 or 7 moving together, and when they realize things are going south, they self-destruct 5% of their undying energy to escape together, all maintaining close to light speed. I can't even catch up, it makes it extremely hard for me to kill an undying. Luckily, my aim right now is to train myself. The contribution points are secondary, the more undyings there are, the better it is to train myself. Every battle was a life or death training experience. The other races would easily lose their lives if they got careless, hence they would give their all, making Luo Feng gain more from each battle. Of course, over these 100 years, Luo Feng did meet some danger. There were 3 times so far that he had come across extremely dangerous situations, of which 2 times, he was surrounded while chasing an undying. Actually, even though it was traps set by those undyings, Luo Feng naturally had discovered them long ago. However, in order to train himself, he still rushed straight in. Such mad killing, using all his strength to survive, made him have extra benefits. Even though the 2 times were dangerous, his earth body still survived. The 3rd time, however, was the most dangerous within these 100 years. That time, Luo Feng had locked onto a team that had 4 undyings. Luo Feng didn't even consider them a challenge and sneaked in, suddenly attacking and destroying the living ship. The battle began instantly. The large amounts of sector lords, domain lords and universe levels fled in all directions. Luo Feng began a mad battle with the 4 undyings. At this time, one of the fleeing sector lords suddenly had a huge bug clan mother nest appear beside him. A blur of Sector Lord Pinnacle Bug soldiers accompanied the nest for a total of 300,000 Sector Lord Pinnacle soldiers. Just one combined attack caused his earth body to have no way to escape. He even gave up on using the undying star-eating plant. He didn't want the plant to be killed by the blast. Back then, he did one thing. He grabbed the 2-meter-tall 1-meter-wide gold shield to block the attack. Rumble. The combined attack of 300,000 Sector Lord Pinnacle Bug soldiers hit the Beast God armament shield. This was indeed a weapon used by knights. The attack naturally didn't even damage the shield, but it was instantly knocked far away. The powerful force of the attack, however, instantly shattered the soldier-armored Luo Feng's body behind it. The shield had already diffused 99% of the attack. However, with his body 3 times stronger than a normal Sector Lord's, he was still instantly shattered by the force. Even his internal core, formed by world energy, not the main core, was instantly shattered. His earth body died. In the instant he died, the Mosha body transformed to the earth body's appearance. The shattered body and soldier armor etc. were all kept in his world ring. The Mosha body grabbed the world ring and wielded the shield. As he was knocked back, he used the force of the attack to flee. He later took the Yunmo planet ship and swiftly fled. While he fled, his scanning device helped him realize that the other race undyings and soldiers etc. were underlings of the Bug Clan Queen. She hid herself in one Sector Lord slave's internal world, normally staying hidden within. Even the Bug Clan Queen was shocked that the combined attack of 300,000 Sector Lord Pinnacle Bug warriors, which had the power to heavily injure an Emperor-level undying, didn't even kill one human. He actually didn't die. Hurry and flee. The Queen ordered. Flee. Luo Feng did so too. Even if he could win if he fought on against the Queen, the cost wouldn't be small. Other than that one time with the Bug Clan Queen, other times were okay. Actually, the Undyings would adapt according to the situations in the outer region wars. If it was very dangerous, they would team up. If it was pretty safe, they could explore alone. In all, the level of danger Luo Feng encountered was pretty normal. One extremely dangerous incident in 100 years, it wouldn't be easy to survive tens of thousands of years. Within another area of the mountain range where Luo Feng had his base, 3 beast-head human body men and women sat in alloy chairs. It was obvious these were demon race puppets. Buciya is dead. It's that star-eating Sector Lord. How can our luck be this bad? Over these 60 years, we've met him 3 times. That's simply unlucky. During these 3 times, the first 2 times we managed to survive. The 3rd time, however, he got rid of Buciya. That star-eating Sector Lord's improvement is too fast. He was much more powerful than the first 2 times. He's improving too fast. If we meet him again, I'm afraid. The 3 demon undyings went silent. The atmosphere within the palace was very subdued. There were 13 terrifying beings on Fog Island. 12 official level undyings and 1 star-eating sector lord. They had a saying, they'd rather face an official than the star-eating sector lord. And yet they bumped into him 3 times in 60 years. It was just unlucky. In another portion of this mountain range, there lay Luo Feng's training grounds. The effects of my 1,200 years of study in Primal Chaos City are growing so much more from the fighting and killing. Luo Feng walked out of his palace and stretched, rubbing the star-eating leaf that extended over, smiling. Demon Undyings, your base is only 120 million kilometers away from here. It's always under my observation. I've been extremely benevolent to only attack you 3 times in 60 years. If I make some progress with my blade work, it would be too simple to just go kill the 3 demon undyings. There'd be no challenge. Naturally, I wouldn't be able to fully test my blade work. Luo Feng's eyes were excited. Even though his rewards from his 1,200 years of study in Primal Chaos City were huge, however, law comprehension was simply just theory. Theory was very important. Usage was just as important. And the techniques that were used to attack and defend, like the 4 absolute manuals of 11 Luo Duo, were most suitable for himself. As Luo Feng trained in the Beast God Path 2, these 4 manuals suited him well. Hence he had already reached a very high level of using the Beast God armament. However, his Earth Body and Gold Horned Beast were strongest at close combat. His Earth Body, because of the soldier armor, was naturally strongest when using blade skills. But 11 Luo Duo's manuals had no such techniques. As for the Golden Horned Beast's close combat, none of its techniques were made with the concept of the Beast God Path 2. Hence Luo Feng had to create his own. Back then, the illusionary 7 blades that I learned had long reached the creator's level. However, the 7 blades themselves have no limit theoretically. They are simply 7 techniques: Dutchman's Pipe, Pensive, Burial, Nightmare, Regret, End of the World. These 7 techniques had 7 different pathways, however they could be further studied. From my many battles these 100 years, the experience I got from killing the other races, the practical experience has allowed me to constantly put the Beast God presence into these 7 blades, making them stronger. Over the 100 years, I've finally made some progress with these 7 techniques. The new 7 absolute blade techniques are much more powerful, even though they still aren't as powerful as 11 Luo Duo's creations. Luo Feng's new blade techniques were very powerful. However, compared to 11 Luo Duo's absolute manuals, Luo Feng only dared to call them mild progress. Of course, this mild progress was only in comparison to 11 Luo Duo. Who was he? He was the greatest being in history of the entire Gold Horn race, true absolute power of the universe. Star-eating plant. Luo Feng smiled and raised his hand. The undying plant swiftly shrank from all the caves of the fragment into a little plant that entered his shoulder. Let's head out to test my blade. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed as he flew out. He took a black disc ship and flew at sublight speed over Fog Island. Luo Feng, there's a team by that mountain range. There are 4 undyings. Too weak. He stood in the control room and gazed at the vast Fog Island. Fog engulfed the entire area. He could barely see the mountain ranges along with the statues that were scarred from the trillions of years of battle. After a while, Luo Feng, there is a team of 6 undyings 920 million kilometer away. Just 6? It's still not enough. It's best to get an official level undying, batting with 1. Luo Feng shook his head. It's been 100 years since I came to Fog Island and yet I've never bumped into an official level undying. Barbata's voice resounded in the control room. Fog Island is incredibly vast. There are only 12 known officials. How could it be so easy to bump into them? After a while, this team is not bad. There are 8 undyings. Barely enough to test my blade. However, let's look for something stronger. Luo Feng replied. Barbata, continue the search. After a while, wow, 990 million kilometers away there are 12 undyings gathered together. 12 undyings, Luo Feng, isn't this too much? Barbata was hesitant. You couldn't even withstand the fight against 8 of them back then, and you've never encountered so many before. Even though you've improved a lot, this time, let's look for 10 undyings. 12? Luo Feng looked at the details on his quantum computer. Looking at the group of undyings, his eyes gleamed. These 12 undyings were split into 3 races: the Eternal Dragon race, the Ka-Wu race, and the Starlight race. The Eternal Dragon race was a flesh and blood life form. They were about 6-8 m tall, and were bloodthirsty and renowned. Its head was somewhat like an alligator, and it had 4 thick limbs and a scaled tail along with a black shell on its back. Ka-Wu race, this was a rock life form, which was 15-20 m tall. From a glance, it looked like it was completely made of alloy, and it had all sorts of appearances. It could look like humans or demons, however it was mainly a rock life form. Starlight race, they were an energy life form. It was a peculiar life form that could take all forms. It wasn't affected by soul attacks. It was similar to the Moshe clansman, of course it didn't have its heavenly cloning ability. However, the moment it reached undying, the Starlight clan became very powerful, and its energy crystal within would melt with its undying body. Because of its natural talent, its regeneration ability was incredible, even more so than the Chiosha race. It would probably take destroying its body hundreds of times to kill a normal undying from the Starlight race. These 3 were all on the Bug clan side. Amongst these 12 undyings, 8 of them were from the Eternal Dragon race, 3 from the Ka-Wu, and 1 from the Starlight. My blade will be tested on them. Luo Feng's eyes burned with spirit. Yes? Barbata replied loudly. Rumble. The disc ship flew swiftly towards the mountain range. About 1 hour later, the ship finally reached the mountain range. With Luo Feng's scanning device, it was obvious that the team didn't even detect him getting close to them. The 12 undyings still stayed gathered together, discussing battles, allies, law comprehension and so on.